All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're connecting the dots across the entire world of AI, from the code being hammered out in research labs all the way to the policies being shaped in global forums. It feels like AI is moving at light speed, right? But the real story, the one that really matters, isn't just about the latest shiny object. It's about the journey, from the engine room where the future is being built, to the boardrooms and parliaments where that future is being fought for. And that's the path we're going to follow today.
Okay, first stop, the research frontiers. Let's get into the engine room and see what fundamental problems the smartest people in the field are trying to crack right now.
We've all seen those mind-blowing, short, AI-generated video clips, but here's the thing. They're usually just single shots. The next frontier, the real game changer, is teaching AI to think like a film director, to actually piece together multiple shots to tell a real, coherent story. And that is a huge leap forward. So how are they pulling this off? Well, there's this new framework called Multi-Shot Master, and it's pretty clever. Instead of starting from zero, it builds on top of the models we already have. It gives creators director-level control to arrange shots and build a real narrative. This is what's going to turn AI video from just a cool trick into a seriously powerful creative tool. But, making AI creative is one thing. Making it truthful, that's a whole other beast. One of the biggest roadblocks for large language models is their tendency to hallucinate, to just make stuff up and state it with complete confidence. It's a massive barrier to trust. So how do you fix that? Well, one really fascinating idea is this thing called lang to logic. Instead of just processing words, it first translates a question into the super strict, verifiable language of formal logic. This forces the AI to actually reason its way through a problem, not just predict the next word. And that could be a total game changer for building AI we can actually count on. Okay, so all this research is incredible. But how does a brilliant paper in a lab actually become a product on the marketplace? Let's follow the money and see how this science is being turned into real products and massive investments. And nothing says we believe in this quite like a giant check. Case in point, Snowflake is dropping $200 million on a partnership with Anthropic. What for? To build what they're calling Agentic AI for the world's biggest companies. We're talking about AI that doesn't just answer your questions, but can actually do things for you. Complex, multi-step tasks. The enterprise AI race is officially on. And believe me, this is not a one-off deal. The whole market is just buzzing. You've got huge new open source models like Mistral 3 pushing the envelope. You've got giants like Amazon launching their own platforms for building AI agents. And venture capital, it's pouring into super specialized fields, funding startups that are using AI to reinvent everything from managing wealth to designing the very chips that power all of this. Now, here is where it all comes full circle. Remember that deep, complex research into things like mixture of experts? That's the secret sauce that makes so many of these top models so powerful. Well, NVIDIA just went and announced new hardware that runs those exact types of models up to 10 times faster. It's the perfect example of that feedback loop. Pure research fuels a new product, which then gets supercharged by industry. It's incredible. So we've seen the science, we've seen the business. Now, let's zoom way out to the world stage. How are governments and global organizations trying to get their arms around a technology that is literally reshaping our world?
On the global stage, the conversation is really this balancing act between immense opportunity and some pretty significant risks. This quote really captures that optimistic side of things, the potential for AI to be a massive force for good. I mean, think bigger than just moderating online comments. Imagine AI systems that could help mediate actual conflicts.
And this isn't just theory. Organizations like UNESCO are already taking action. They're creating legal guides for judges using AI in the courtroom. They're helping entire nations like Trinidad and Tobago and Bangladesh build out their own AI strategies. The groundwork for global policy is being laid right now, as we speak. And this really highlights how policy and infrastructure are completely intertwined. The World Economic Forum points to this absolutely incredible opportunity, estimating that a strategic investment in sustainable, green AI computing across Africa could unlock $1.5 trillion in economic growth. This proves AI isn't just a tech issue. It is a fundamental economic and development issue. All right, finally, let's bring it all back home and focus on the companies at the very center of this revolution. When you have this much power, how do you think about safety and responsibility?
What's so fascinating is that we're seeing two distinct philosophies start to emerge. On one side, you have Anthropic with its safety-first culture, which is winning over big businesses because of its cautious approach. And on the other side, you have OpenAI with its strategy of understand and align. They're focused on getting deep inside the model's behavior, even teaching them to confess when they make a mistake. Both are chasing the same thing, trust, but they're taking very different roads to get there.
And all of this brings us to our final, and maybe the most critical question, one that researchers themselves are asking. Throughout history, some technologies have leveled the playing field for everyone, while others have just made the gap between people even wider. So as we look at everything from research to policy, the question we all have to think about is, which path is AI going to take? Will it be an equalizer for humanity, or will it just amplify the differences that already divide us? The truth is, that answer is still being written.